So Captain America: Brave New World is in theaters now, and Kevin Feige is hoping that the fans will just accept Anthony Mackie as the new Captain America. And he says here, I think in many ways the victory has already happened, but it's that full acceptance of Sam Wilson as Captain America, right? That shield has been passed, and it feels like the audience knows it was passed to the right person. And I think this movie will solidify that more. And I think for me, we need to see the movie first before we make our final judgment on, okay, we're just going to accept Anthony Mackie as Captain America, especially the last time we saw Captain America was in the TV show from 5 years ago. So to come out and say we've already accepted it, we've already transitioned from Steve Rogers, is pretty bold in my opinion, especially when we haven't seen this movie yet. Obviously, we know that Marvel has fumbled a lot in the last few years with the Eternals, with Doctor Strange, with the Marvels because of all the woke propaganda they've been pushing. And you have to hope that the audience will just forget all that. That's not going to be easy because we know the agendas that Disney has. Families haven't been happy with the movies they've been pushing because of all the constant woke agenda that they see in these films, and it just turns them off. And you're acting like after 5 years of not seeing him in films, we're just going to automatically accept him, that we should just embrace it without making our judgment calls on the movie. I don't know about that. I think we need to see it first before we go ahead and say, like, yeah, this is a great guy. He's going to do fantastic. I don't know. That's to be determined. Now, I do believe the reason why Kevin Feige came out and said we need to accept Anthony Mackie as the Captain America is because he had a statement about his thoughts on what Captain America represents. He goes on to say, for me, Captain America represents a lot of different things. I don't think the term America should be one of those representations. That's not good. Don't make those statements, especially when you know Donald Trump just won the election. He got the popular vote. And the reason why he got elected again is because people out there are tired of the agendas and these ideologies that are being pushed in their face. We have seen from Disney with Eternals, agendas were pushed. Doctor Strange, we saw things in there with the lesbian world. We saw in Love and Thunder with Thor, where Zeus was out there talking about how we want to have an orgy. Those are things in children movies. We don't want to see that as families. That turns them off. So you come into 2025, you're trying to get off to a good start, and you make that statement. You have to know your audience. There are conservatives out there that don't like this stuff. They're going to be turned off right away. And if you turn off that fan base, now you don't have money coming in, and it's going to hurt your bottom line. Now, I do love the fact he said it's about a man who keeps his word, who has honor and dignity. Those are good things in integrity. Someone who's trustworthy and dependable. Great stuff there. Now, maybe he misspoke. I know he did come out and clarify his comments. And, I want to give the benefit of the doubt to Anthony Mackie. I'm sure he'll learn from this. And also, he was in Italy. Maybe he was trying to get a point across to that audience. I don't know. But I do believe Kevin Feige did come out and try to just defend Anthony Mackie after he made those statements. Because, again, you want to get off to a good start this year. And if the movie flops from the audience side, then you're not off to a good start again, Marvel. You got to build the trust. You got to just, get to a point where you're just trying to tell a story instead of pushing woke propaganda. Because if you continue down this road, then you're just going to lose more of your audience. And all of a sudden, you're not making enough money anymore. So it just doesn't make any sense. I don't think this statement was necessary about America should not be one of those representations. Why make that comment when you know your audience right now is more about patriotism? We want to see people being free to share what's on their mind. We want to see people look out for Americans first. And if you say that and you're Captain America, you have the red, white, and blue shield, that's not necessary. I understand what he's trying to say about it should represent other things, but you didn't need to say that because it comes across as like, oh, forget America. That doesn't fly with people who love this country, love to be free, and not a good idea. Now, looking at the reviews of Captain America: Brave New World, not off to the best start when it comes to the critic side. Now, I say that because we have seen movies from Rotten Tomatoes where the fans score and the critics score are on opposite spectrums, where the critics are saying it's terrible, but the fans love it. So I need to see what the audience have to say about this before we, have our final conclusion. I still need to see the movie myself. But again, the critics don't really like it so far. But we still need to see more reviews come in before we have a final conclusion. I still think it's going to make a profit because I just have a feeling they'll tell a good enough story and they'll be able to build off of that. Sometimes, when you're trying to rebuild trust with the audience, you got to just build from the ground up. There are some concerns when they're trying to set up the big movie of Avengers Doomsday in 2026, and fans might not care enough. And I think a big part of that also is this superhero fatigue. I think Marvel should give it a break, in my opinion, when it comes to films and live action movies. It's hard to keep creating and making new stories. And when you power that on top of the woke ideologies they've been pushing, that isn't going to fly. And I think it's going to end in a disaster potentially. Because again, you went from Endgame and then you are now trying to rebuild that same feeling. It's hard to do when you go and transition very quickly from Steve Rogers to Sam Wilson. You have no Iron Man. I know he's returning as Doomsday, Robert Downey Jr. But I just think right now, Marvel should have given this a break. I think it's a combination of the ideologies and fatigue from making superhero movies. Those are just my opinions. Love to hear your thoughts today. Thanks for sticking to the end. What do you think about what Kevin Feige had to say? What Anthony Mackie had to say? Do you think the movie's going to be good? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one.